Hey folks, Wrath coming at you with another one. Today I want to talk about some tips and tricks on what I use to win the Digital War side quests, and they are very good to do because of all the rewards that I just showed. You get some red runes, and more so you get awakening potential for Daniel. So on a daily basis, if you do this and you're able to get top rewards within 20 days, you'll have one of the new crystals that will allow you to awaken him. So jumping right into things, stage 1 and 2 are fairly simple. For stage 1, I just buy whatever unit I want and then hit deploy. This is stage 2. I always upgrade before buying a unit that has 2000 combat power. Ideally, they'll either have the same faction or type bonus. Stage 3 is also fairly simple. I'm trying to, again, buy things that have 2000 combat power that have similar faction bonuses or type bonuses. So I picked up a Nero here and an Amish, and that got my combat power to 8400. Now, stage 4 is important for two reasons. The first is I always try to get the 3-star bonus before combining any of the heroes. So notice here that I got the 3-star bonus and then I bought a Nero, and I'm using the lock feature to guarantee that Nero doesn't disappear and guarantee that he's back on the next round. And the reason that I want the 3-star bonus here is because when you combine 3 units into one, it gives you a secondary unit that's a stage level higher. So in this case, Teresh. So you get a 4000 CP unit because you've combined at 3 stars. If you combined at 2 stars, you would get a 3000 CP unit, like a Taylor or a Serena, for example. And the whole goal for me is to try to get as many 4-star unit triples as I can. So in stage 5, notice that I've gone through several units trying to find either a secondary copy of Haemon or a secondary copy or third copy of Amish. Now notice again, I'll lock the characters in place before upgrading because I don't want the Haemon to disappear from the selection screen. And in doing so, I was able to get Sif, which is level higher than that, rather. So my entire focus now is really trying to get triples of 3-star heroes or triples of 4-star heroes to get the CP and combat power up. So notice that I picked up 2 Oisas and then a secondary Teresh, and that gets me well above what I need to be in terms of the combat power to clear this stage. I also don't have any use for Amish at this time, and I'd much rather get Oisa in there for the bonuses. That will give me way more comfortable CP to clear the stage. And finally, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lock this in place because there's 2 copies of Taylor. So notice as I'm going into the later stages, I've got basically 2 copies of Oisa, I'm going to have 2 copies of Taylor, and I'm going to have 2 copies of Teresh. So what I'm doing here is I'm increasing the odds of getting any one of these units. And the more of these units that I have, the higher the likelihood I'll be able to finish this up. So I both got a copy of Oisa there and a copy of Taylor here as well. Now, since I can't buy the Taylor copy, I'm locking it in place, wrapping up the round, and then I'm going to pick that up on the next stage here. So again, just to reiterate, I'm trying to get as many copies of 3- and 4-star heroes as possible to increase my odds of beating this game. Right now, I've got basically enough tokens to upgrade without concern for being able to finish this. I'm going to be going into the last round here. Unfortunately, upon using the last token, I did also get 2 potentials for Miranda here, which I'm going to lock into place. So as I head into round 10 here, notice that I've got 2 potentials with Teresh, 2 potentials that I'm going to have with Miranda, and 1 with Northeon. So I'm going to have a lot of options here that allow me to pick up these characters, which is going to get me right over the threshold of what I need. Now, that being said, I'm being very cognizant of the fact that I only have 9 tokens for either refresh or buying characters, and I've got 2 copies of Nord and 2 copies of Teresh here. if I bought 2 additional copies of Miranda, that would have left me with way too few tokens that I would have been comfortable to move forward with. And so what I decided to do instead was I decided to skip the Mirandas, buy a copy of Northion, and then notice that I was also able to pick up a copy of Panda. And so in doing this, I got fortunate enough that 3 Northion copies popped, and then because I had 2 Panda copies and I was able to get a third one through the upgrade, I effectively got enough combat power to win and clear the stage. So let me give you guys another example of what I did, with the premise being basically the exact same to complete it. I would say my success rate with Digital War, it does have a little bit of RNG, especially in the later stages, but is probably 80 to 90%. And so given that, I think the approach that I'm taking here does hold and has some legitimacy to it. So again, to reiterate, stage 1 and 2, very simple. Stage 1, I buy a unit. Stage 2, I upgrade before looking for a unit that has 2000 combat power, which agrees with either the faction or the type bonus. Now in stage 3 here, I was able to get 2 Dakas and 2 Sabriels. And notice just having the 4 units with the type bonus got my combat power to 7,800, which was well above the 45 that we needed. So I went and comfortably upgraded here, and then I was looking at what unit I would need to buy to get me to the next stage. And in this case, either a Liran or a Taylor gets me enough combat power, but because there's a third Daka, I use that route. So notice that I had the stage upgraded to 3 stars before I bought Daka to guarantee that I would get a 4-star unit. So it really just comes down to making some decent decisions about what potential characters you think are going to be coming up and where you have the best chances of success. So I was aiming to get a Sabriel, and because we're low enough in terms of star upgrades on the stage, the chances of it dropping are fairly high. So I upgraded a Sabriel and then got a 4-star unit to complement that. I will say this too, I always consume all the tokens at the end of a match, simply because I'm trying to see where there's doubles or triples that pop up, like here. So 2 Rakannas popping up is actually decent, and I'm thinking about buying them next round. So, but given the fact that I have almost the necessary combat power to clear this stage, what I actually decide to do is upgrade the stage to 4 stars, and then either make a determination about buying a 4-star hero to complement the lineup that I have here, or picking a character who has a favorable type bonus or faction bonus that's going to increase the CP. So notice by adding Na Feng, my CP went up all the way to 32.2 combat power because of the various bonuses that he would add. As we progressed through stage 7, got fortunate enough, picked up a second copy of Barog. I would either be looking for copies of Barog, Crete, or Na Feng. And so I'm just cycling through here until I get one of those 2. Fortunately enough, notice that there's 2 copies of Miranda here. So I'm going to lock that up, deploy, and head over into the next stage. And in the next stage, what I'm doing immediately is I'm picking both copies of Miranda up, and now I've increased the odds of getting more 4-star hero triplets to clear the stages. So any number between Crete, Barog, or Miranda gets me there. And notice as I cycle through, I was able to pick up a copy of Barog. And then I also decided to sell Na Feng to put in the 2 Miranda copies rather, that I picked up. So all I've got to do now is find a 3rd copy of Miranda, Crete, again, or Barog, and I'll be able to clear this instance of Digital War. So as we head into the 9th stage here, I have enough combat power to clear it. So I just flat out upgrade the entire stage bonus to 5, and now I'm looking for copies that are consistent, again, with the triplets that I'm looking after. So I buy a copy of Daniel here, and because there were 2, I'm going to lock this into place so that I have them coming up in the next round once we defeat this one. And I'll be going into the last stage with either a copy of Crete, a copy of Miranda, or a copy of Daniel to get us there. So buying one copy of Daniel effectively gives me the necessary CP to clear the stage. So even if I stop, I win, but just for sake of demonstration, again, I'm going to consume all the tokens that I have to see what comes up, and look, we hit a Crete. So now we're going to have significant overkill in terms of combat power to clear this Digital War instance, and notice that I get all the way up to 102.3. I think the highest I've ever gotten to was like in the 120s, which is way more than you need. So hopefully this helped you guys out a little bit, and let me know in the comments below. I'll catch you next time. Peace.